Question 22. 1320 divided by 12. Now I'm going to do this two different ways. The first method is I'm going to show you the chunking method for division. So when you're chunking, you need to subtract easy chunks of 12 away from 1320. So the question is, what are easy chunks? Well, we want one lot of 12, 10 lots of 12, 100 lots of 12, 2 lots of 12, 20 lots of 12, 200 lots of 12, and 5 lots of 12. Now let's see what sort of chunks these give us. So let's just put some equal signs in there. Now you can do any chunking method using these same chunks. 1 lot, 10 lots, 100 lots, 2 lots, 20 lots, 200 lots, and 5 lots. And you can work these out. Now you've got to remember that the chunking method does take 3 or 4 minutes. So you can't get too hasty about it, you can't rush it, you've just got to take your time, and as long as you get the right answer, it's time well spent. So 1 times 12 is 12, 10 12s are same as 1 12 but with a 0 on the end, so that'd be 120. 100 12s are the same as 1 lot of 12 but with 2 zeros on the end, so it's going to be 1200. 2 12s are 24. 20 12s is the same as 2 12s but with a 0 on the end, so 240. And 200 12s is the same as 2 12s but with 2 zeros on the end, so that's 2400. And 5 12s, well, that's going to be half of this 10 12s here. So if you half 10 12s, you'll get 5 12s, so half of 120 is 60. Now when you're doing the chunking method, you need to subtract the largest number that you can from this list away from 1320. So let's set it up now. So we've got 12s into 1320. Now we can't take 2400 away because that's too big. You can only take away a number that's smaller than this 1320, but it should be the biggest number that you can find that's still smaller than 1320. So the biggest number we can find, smaller than 1320, is this 1200 here. So we're going to take away 1200, but at the side you should say what chunk of 12s that is. Well, that is a chunk of 100 lots of 12. Okay, so now let's actually work that out. So 0 take 0 is 0, 2 take 0 is 2, 3 take 2 is 1, and 1 take away 1 is nothing. So we're actually down to 120. Now the whole point of this is we're going to keep subtracting chunks until there's nothing left. So we're down to 120. So now we check our list of chunks again, and the biggest number we can take away is now this 120 here. And that is a chunk of 10 12s. So we need to write 10 12s at the side and take away the 120. And if you take 120 away from 120, you're obviously going to get 0. 0 take 0 is 0, 2 take 2 is nothing, and 1 take 1 is nothing. So we're down to 0, so there's nothing left. Once you've got down to nothing left, all you have to do then is add up your chunks. So we've subtracted 100 lots of 12, and we've subtracted 10 lots of 12. So altogether, if you add these together, that's 110 lots of 12. So the final answer is 110. So there are 110 lots of 12 in 1320. Occasionally, you don't get 0 at the end. If there was a number left at the end and it doesn't go down to 0, that just means you have a remainder. But you must double check that you've actually done your subtraction right, because a lot of people understand this method of subtracting the chunks, but then they make a mistake during the subtraction in the question. So be very careful. Be careful in subtraction. There is another way you could have done it. So you could have attempted a bush shelter method. So you could have said 12s into 1320. So how many 12s will go into 1? Well, none, because 12 is bigger than 1. You haven't used the 1 yet, so you carry the 1. How many 12s go into 13? That's 1 remainder 1. So now we've got 12 here. So how many 12s go into 12? That's once. And how many 12s go into 0? That's none. So as you can see, 110, we've got the same answer there. I always recommend that with the chunking method, you always use the chunking method if you're dividing by a number 12 or bigger. And if you're dividing by a number smaller than 12, then you can use the short method. I mean, this is actually worked out quite easy. But if you're dividing by 13, 14, 15, 16 or 17, or a bigger number than that into the 20s or 30s, you'd be much better off using this chunking method.